Hi everybody, this is Christina, the Amputee OT. In my last video, I showed you my first time walking on my chuck socket as an above knee amputee. And as you noted in that video, things did not go well for me at all. My knee didn't work, my microphone broke, and I started getting the stabbing pain in my residual limb that was definitely, I would say, at least an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on the pain scale. It's bad. Anyway, the other day I went back to my prosthetist and I switched for a mechanical knee, the Össur Total Knee 2000. I wasn't able to record that session with my prosthetist because there were other people in there, and I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable asking everybody if I could record. But that session was hopefully the worst one. During that session, even though I got the knee to work, I kept having continued extreme nerve pain in my residual limb when I would move in certain ways. I couldn't exactly figure out exactly what motion triggered that pain. All that I know is that it's at the medial distal end of my residual limb. Probably what it is a neuroma that's forming, which is unfortunate, but something that is solvable, thankfully. Even though the session at Hanger with my residual limb and the neuroma literally had me in tears, I went home and I took a break from the leg, and then the next day I put it back on again. Mostly because I wanted to see what would happen. And I noticed that the pain issue is actually less now than it was when I was in the clinic, thankfully. So even though it feels like I'm getting stabbed in my residual limb, when I'm wearing my prosthesis, it only happens like maybe a couple of times a day, so it's not something that's going to prevent me from wearing my prosthesis. In fact, the time in which the pain in my residual limb is the worst is when I'm not wearing anything on my residual limb. So like when I'm in the tub, or if I'm in bed and I don't have anything on. And I think that that is because if there's nothing on, if I don't have any liner or any shrinker on, then my tissues in my residual limb can move around more, and then whatever's causing the extreme pain is happening more often. Whereas if I have a liner on or a shrinker on, then my tissues are contained more and it's harder for them to move around, and it's harder to get that pain in my residual limb. So the pain does not happen when I'm moving my leg through the gait cycle. It's when I like turn and sort of twist in certain ways that it hurts. So I'm just avoiding that, but using my prosthetic leg anyway because I want to be able to use it, obviously. So because I'm me, one of the first things I did was go outside and do some work in my yard. I bought a bunch of items from an auction of a closed school. It's a long story, and I had to unload all of those items, and so I went outside and I unloaded all of those items using my prosthesis. I recorded a video of this, but didn't save. I just unloaded all of this stuff from this trailer, and I recorded it so that you could see what I was doing. My video didn't save. Ugh. Whoa. Almost fell, but I didn't. Keep going. And I did a bunch of walking around outside, and I also tried stairs for the first time. So you'll notice that I have to walk step over step to go up and down the stairs, and that's because the knee doesn't bend to go up the stairs. There's a way to do it going down the stairs, but it kind of requires that you be very familiar and kind of an expert user of this particular knee, and since I'm not planning on doing it, I didn't try it. I just go step over step up and down the stairs. The There were a lot of other firsts that I had this week, so I went out shopping by myself at the grocery store. Let me tell you, going to the grocery store is a very useful activity for people who are above the knee amputees because you can hold onto the shopping cart and you can practice walking. And if you happen to stumble, then you have the shopping cart to grab onto. So it just kind of makes you feel a lot more confident to be able to use the shopping cart to get around. And then, of course, you get to do your grocery shopping. So you get to accomplish practicing walking on your leg and getting something done. Basically everything was like a first for me this week. So getting in a car, I did that for the first time. Carrying my son for the first time, which was kind of scary because I'm afraid that I'm going to drop him. I don't want to drop my son. But I really wanted to be able to stand and carry him. That's something that I miss doing, is being able to stand with him and hold him while standing. Even though sitting and holding him in a wheelchair is the same thing, it's fine. He doesn't care. He loves me all the same, but it's just something that I missed being able to do personally. Anyway, hopefully I get this neuroma thing solved because it is honestly super painful and really discouraging to have this kind of pain in my residual limb, because that is one of the reasons that I got a revision, was to get rid of pain in my residual limb, and here it is, some new pain, yay! But there are solutions to neuromas. It's not something that can't be solved, and thankfully it's just one painful area and not multiple painful areas like I had in my residual limb when I was a below the knee amputee. Okay, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe to follow my journey, and see you later. Happy walking. Bye.